This podcast has got to do with LaMelo Ball and Lonzo Ball and Big Baller Brand and Ball Brothers. How many times can I say ball when I start this whole podcast monologue? Hey, that's the whole goal here, right? And you might actually think you'll actually like this take, and you might have something really to say about this. The question here is that have the Ball Brothers put too much mileage on their bodies already? And you obviously touched upon LaMelo Ball's injury was a little bit odd. There was non-contact. He obviously was dribbling the ball. He sort of made a bit of a move, maybe put some weight, shifted weight off one leg on another, and then heard a pop. And then obviously now he's got a fractured ankle. He's out for the season. Yeah. His brother on the other side of the ledger, top two pick in the draft as well, out for the season now. Bulls have written him off, and he obviously has this had a knee surgery twice now, I think, and he's still got discomfort, and they have no real idea how they're going to get him back on the floor. I don't know. Fingers crossed we see him next season. May not be shock horror if we don't. And I guess if we sort of think back and look, I never watched any of the Ball brothers. I don't even know what it's called, reality show and stuff like that. But these kids, these guys have been playing basketball for a long time. Yeah, obviously through college and prior to college and through high school, and they had all the hype and all that stuff, and they would have played a lot of games, lots of training and stuff like that. And I guess have they already put too much mileage on their bodies that this is why they're breaking down now?
I think you've got a genetic disposition, right? So injuries can occur because some people are just more prone to them in certain parts of their bodies. So, we are looking at two brothers now that are having lower leg issues. So potentially that's one. Then you do have a load management issue. So, you've talked about playing a large amount of basketball in their formative years. And this has probably been a topic as well, that the pathway for NBA players, playing AAU and then going to college and then needing to do so many different tournaments in the same day, that puts mileage on their bodies as well. And then you kind of factor in, I guess, how would I put it? I think you mentioned it, and also I think Kenny Smith has mentioned as well. But like everyone has a certain amount of basketball mileage, and then it's done, right? And so what you're alluding to is that they've used it up very early into their career because they spent so much time playing beforehand. I think I think I'd probably harbor a little bit onto the genetic side of things. I think some people are more disposed towards certain injuries, right? So I think, from my personal experience, my left knee, I actually genetically come from that on my dad's side. We all have a bad left knee due to sports, three knee recos, um, respectively, and then meniscus tears, etc. So, that is different sports, different age time frames, etc., that all led to the same sort of result. So, maybe we are watching LaMelo really have a similar start to his brother's career, where Lonzo was able to stay a bit durable in his teething phase, and then once obviously he gets to the Pelicans, that's when the injuries really started, and LaMelo might already be in that in his third season. It might already be a time of running out of legs.
I think, our earlier podcast was to do with medical records and being able to publicly understand maybe more about the athletes' conditions. And, look, we're never going to sort of get the transparency here in being able to really see this from a medical perspective. But I guess the casual observation here is that the Ball brothers very talented. Yeah, they're obviously, good enough, these two Ball brothers, to be in the NBA. Obviously, what's his other one?
Ah, LiAngelo.
Leandro, yeah, obviously, he's trying to break into the league. Probably unlikely to happen now at this point if he hasn't already. But it's inevitable that through their previous sort of stops and obviously what they've done so far, they have put a lot of mileage in. All right, and the other point here on this take maybe is that look, I haven't worn them personally, but I've looked at them. But have you seen Lamelo shoes that obviously Puma have put out? They're definitely a different design. And I don't know about, I guess, you don't play that much nowadays yourself, I guess, nowadays. But, I think over the years, and I used to wear basketball shoes, I don't know, 20 years ago, 10 years ago now, I think the designs have really continued to sort of lack support on that part of the body that is so critical for the game, effectively your feet. Okay. And I don't know whether it's a cost saving measure or it's supposed to make the designs look better or something like that. But you chuck on some pairs of shoes and you just go, no way. no way in hell would I wear this. It's just not comfortable. Doesn't give me no protection. And I'm talking about comparing these shoes from now to like 20 years ago, where I guess high tops were much more standard and stuff like that. And maybe kids nowadays look at high tops or don't even know what high tops are. Okay, and that's the thing. All right, so they think this is all it is. This is how it is supposed to be. There's got no comparison. And I wonder things like the design for LaMelo's signature shoe and stuff like that. Does that do him any favors? All right. So obviously these sort of injuries that he's had this year, what, three rolled ankles now and then now a fractured ankle?
Well, I guess the other thing as well, we're talking about a non-contact injury, which are always, never good, right? So, and not to cite it for any shoe reasons, just as a aside, the Brandon Clark injury or the Achilles, that's a non-contact injury, um, but that is actually quite common for an Achilles, right? So it's very common for an Achilles to go on an explosive, first movement or first step. But obviously the LaMelo one, he's simply doing a dribble move that he does many times and takes a step backwards, and obviously his body can't handle it. And so, exploring that a little bit more, is it the shoe design? Is it the mileage? Is it genetics? Is it something else? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Um, there's a lot of different things at play here, but it is probably something that the league needs to look into, because you are talking about athletes who do the optimal level of care and training, etc., to keep their bodies ready. And freak accidents do occur, but surely there's got to be some plausible correlation that being a professional athlete should reduce the chance of having those ridiculous injuries, right? We're not talking about dads who decide after 15 years of not playing sport that they go back and play Thursday night and then hurt themselves on the first game because their body's not used to it. We're talking about professional athletes who do it day in, day out. How are they having these kind of injuries? And, you hear player recounts of flights getting in at 2 a.m. in the morning, and then they, don't go to sleep till 3, and then they get up at 8 for training, or they have a game at 2. So, all of these things should be compounding, because we don't want to see players like LaMelo Ball missing time and extended periods of time because he was trying to pull off a dribble move and then permanently gets injured.
Yeah, look, we absolutely want to see, Lonzo and LaMelo in the league and playing good basketball for the respective clubs. They hire like real machines. And yeah, look, I don't know if someone's out there's got some feedback on, the LaMelo shoes. I guess we'd love to hear it. I don't know. It feels like we can definitely talk about shoes a little bit more in another podcast.
Yo, this is Two Guys with Spare Time. I'm Faz, this is Nick. You're probably a basketball fan like us, so hopefully you can throw us an assist and giving our video a like and subscribing to our channel.
And if you got thoughts, feelings, or even some suggestions, please put them down in the comment section below. And thank you for using your spare time to watch us in our spare time.